It's helped. I mean, just from a starting point. I think if you try to put your scheme in, how you're going to try to defend it, try to put it in 1 week, it's hard to be able to adjust all the different things that they do. Our offense has given us a good look, and we took time in the spring, we took time in the fall camp, and we've taken segments throughout the whole season, just put an emphasis on defending the wishbone. A little bit different. Again, our offense has given us really about 4 of their top plays and some of their top play actions. Again, they haven't given us the whole scheme of things what Navy does. They do a lot more than just triple option, toss sweep, and some of the other runs that they have. So we've still had to do some adjusting, but just kids are familiar with the calls, familiar with the formation, so it's made it a little bit smoother this week.
Has it been too, I think, just the scout team getting that work so they can run that offense thoroughly and I guess as close to full speed as possible so that you're getting a good look?
It's, again, I don't know if you can ever, I don't think you can ever really portray how fast the game's going to be once you get into Saturday's kickoff. Regardless of your scout team, whether it's your scout team or whether it's your starting offense trying to give you a look, it's still not going to be quite to the speed of what we're going to see here on Saturday. But again, the look is what's been most important. We've spent a lot of time trying to, on the perimeter, defend the chop block, defend the stock block, and keeping guys alive in the secondary where they can be active to the football.
I know you weren't happy with the points allowed or the result last Saturday, but what did you really like about what your defense did?
Well, again, I think effort. I think our kids are competing. And I think you always got a chance when your kids are playing for 4 quarters. There's certainly a lot of things we got to do better. Just the inconsistency is what's hurting us. You feel like you defend them, and all of a sudden you give up an explosion play, and big plays killed us. And I think some of it had to do with them executing. Some of it had to do with us not fitting the run game properly, and some of it had to do with they've got a pretty athletic quarterback and a real good running back that we weren't able to get them to the ground. So, I think when we went back and looked, I think there was 12 explosion plays. You had 10 explosion runs, 2 explosion passes, and out of those 12 plays, I think they gained about 345 yards. So you're not going to play good defense when you're giving up those kind of yardage and those kind of big plays.
Facing Navy that has a new quarterback now, it seems like maybe strong a little deeper, at least he's gaining more yards per reception. What wrinkle does he put in that you guys have to adjust?
Well, I don't think their offense has really changed. I think he's a little bit more effective throwing the football last week against Central Michigan. Where their passing game's successful is they get you overcommitting against the run. And again, that's where it's critical. Where as a second level player, whether you're a linebacker, whether you're safety, whether you're a corner, just knowing where your keys are at. Because they do a great job, but they run the ball, they lull you to sleep, and all of a sudden they set up a play-action game, that's off one of their top runs. And if you're not fitting it correctly, your eyes aren't where they're supposed to be, the guy's going to run right by you. And again, when they get you caught sucked up, a lot of them are just deep shots, whether it's off a wheel route or off a post cut or off a crack wheel concept there. I don't care who they've played, they've had guys open. But again, they were real successful last week against Central Michigan.
Everybody keeps talking about being disciplined with your eyes. Mm-hmm. What's the difference between looking at the option versus looking at traditional stuff?
What's the difference? Well, again, if your vision's on one of those little slots, his course on how he's blocking you, is he trying to block you, or is he trying to release and get down into the route? If you're the backside, or if you're a middle safety or a backside linebacker, and you're feeling hinge protection on the backside, one of the things they do, their run game, their linemen climb so quick in the option game that they're down the field, getting into the linebackers' feet, getting down into the safeties' feet. But on their play action, again, when you watch the line, they're not coming off the ball. They're sitting back a little bit more. So there's a lot of different keys that are tied into when they're running the ball, when they're throwing the football. So those are things we've worked on. Those are things we've talked about. If you've got a particular guy man-to-man, that's your guy. If he blocks you, then you're replacing outside, just things like that. If he's not blocking you, he's probably releasing into a route. So, again, just eye discipline is going to be critical this week.